Before I start, my name's Loretta Willerton, but I just want to, or Telstra would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and recognises the continuing connection to land, water and cultures. And we pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. And today I'm coming to you from the lands of the Gunai Kurnai, which I'm sure a number of you are located in the same area. Today, Telstra are really pleased to be able to bring this cybersecurity session to you all. And we have our partners from the Telstra Business Technology Centre joining us, and we've got Ryan, who you'll hear from soon, just to talk about cybersecurity, the threats or the type of threats and what you can do to stay protected online. But just a bit of background on the Telstra Business Technology Centres. Telstra established these, it was about 2 years ago, and it's evolved from what was previously our Telstra Business Centres. And what we saw were there was a lot more complex and specialised needs that our business customers were requiring. And so rather than looking at and providing a service that focused just on phone products and websites, it's now about cloud storage, software services, IP, phone systems, data networks and hardware. So there's a lot more complexity around the needs of IT and connectivity, and the business technology centres are there to be able to assist customers across the Gippsland region. And it's great to have Ryan, who's with us today, to be able to walk you through cybersecurity and then talk about some of the things that the Business Technology Centre can do to help. So being cyber secure is really important, and COVID has certainly amplified that risk because so many of us are now working and studying from home. And it means that activities that we used to undertake at work behind secure firewalls are now being completed at home on our own private network connections. Locally, we've seen an increase in people having their personal data online compromised, and we want to ensure that people are aware of the tips and tools to stay safe. Telstra has been working hard to reduce the number of scams and malware being experienced by customers, and we've upgraded our capabilities to more actively block cyber threats on our network that could compromise the safety of our customers' personal information. And while this is not completely foolproof and completely eliminates the risk, it does substitute appropriate threats and protection. But it's also important that people also take cyber into their own hands and be aware of what they can do to protect their own personal data and their business data. What Telstra have done is call this project Cleaner Pipes, and it's all about increased filtering. And we're seeing millions of malware communications being proactively and automatically blocked every week as they try to cross the network. And so anyone that's using the Telstra network is protected by the work that's happening behind the scenes to block any of these malicious activities going on. So to talk more about that, I'm really pleased to be able to hand over to Ryan Kovacs now to take us through the tips and tools and the sorts of security risks that you should look out for when you are acting online. So over to you, Ryan. Thank you.
Thanks, Loretta, and thanks, Alison. And hello, everybody else. What I'm going to do now is just share the presentation for today. The purpose of today's session is to assist in building a strong understanding of cybercrime, the types of attacks, what you can do to protect your business. We're going to cover off 6 areas, including cybercrime and COVID-19. 2, what do the stats say? 3, common types of cyber attacks. 4, 5 no's of cybersecurity. 5, what you can do to protect your business. And 6, how then to respond to a cyber attack should it occur. There will be plenty of opportunities for questions. Feel free to use the chat box to type any of your questions as we go through the webinar. Cybercrime is targeting more businesses than ever during the pandemic, with new working conditions resulting in new risks. Business may have slowed due to COVID-19 pandemic, but cybercrime never stops. In fact, all evidence shows it has been on the rise, fueled by the chaos of a new normal. Attackers have tested new vectors and repurposed old ones to take advantage of the situation. And it's been working. According to ScamWatch, the ACCC's monitoring service for cybercrime, more than 3,000 scams related to COVID-19 pandemic, targeting individuals and businesses, have been reported within Australia. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Scott Morrison has warned all Australians that sophisticated attacks on business have also been on the rise. These attacks have been carefully targeted using phishing attacks that seem all too plausible, with messages purporting to be from the government or security departments, asking users to check network access settings in the rush to enable remote working. What has become clear though, is that the risk to business can be devastating. A recent study commissioned by Microsoft has found that Australian businesses are losing 29 billion annually in direct economic impacts due to cyber incidents. Cyber statistics across May and June alone, 2020 combined, show that Australia is currently listed as the 6th most attacked country within the globe. Telstra blocks more than 500,000 malicious SMS and scam calls on our mobile network each and every month. In the months between Jan and March 2020, Telstra blocked 1.46 million scam calls and a further 23 million email messages per day. Overall though, levels of cybercrime haven't increased. We've just paying more attention to it, largely due to COVID-19 and the high profile nature of ransomware. Hopefully that makes sense. The Australian Cyber Security Centre conducted a small business survey in October 2019. The results show that 65% of Australian businesses were interrupted due to a breach last year. Out of this, 89% say that they have been in breaches that actually go undetected. They don't even know. 1 in 4 businesses don't have an incident response plan when damaging cyber attack actually occurs. Did you know that 1 in 5 small businesses that use Windows are using a version of the operating system that stopped receiving security updates in January 2020? Or that nearly 1 in 5 Mac users are unaware of what operating system the business is actually using. Sorry, we'll just go back a slide there. These examples of lack of knowledge results in vulnerabilities that are being exploited every day. Cybersecurity is a big problem for small business. It's a myth to believe that you're too small to be attacked. As a small business, your information is valuable, otherwise you wouldn't be in business. These statistics relate to businesses just like yours. 33% of SMB don't take proactive measures against security breaches. 87% of SMB believe they're safe because they have antivirus software. And 63% of these attacks on SMBs are actually successful as well. Small business is the target of 43% of all cybercrimes committed within Australia. Many SMB business simply do not survive an attack, or those that do are severely disrupted, not just for months, but also for not just for days, but also for months and even potentially years. You and we go into business because we have a great product or service and that you've identified there's a need within the market. To have that taken away from you by a cyber attack would be devastating. We do not want you to be one of the 22% of businesses that once hit are not able to then return. Do we have any questions at this point? No questions? Okay, I'll keep moving. So who's behind these attacks? There's a criminal ecosystem that really underpins these sort of scams. Hackers are no longer lone wolves. They're a pack. I'll explain how this works. You might have one person who's really good at designing the email message or the SMS, but that's the only service that they actually provide. They're almost like a criminal graphic design. Then they'll work with a separate organisation of criminal software developers who will write the virus to impact your phone or your computer. Then they'll work with some criminal sort of IT providers or mail providers that will distribute those messages. They will take a cut, or each will take a cut of the hard-earned money as it goes through the criminal ecosystem. Really, this is the new phase of organised crime, and it's highly sophisticated. We'll just look at a case study now. In Feb 2020, wool sales across Australia were cancelled due to the system underpinning auctions and exports was hit by a cyber attack. Telman software, which is used by more than 75% of the wool industry across Australia and New Zealand, fell victim to ransomware, forcing the buying and trading system offline. Whilst the wool broker's data had not been compromised, the attacker had still encrypted all the files. So how does this actually occur? How does it happen? Staying secure online and preventing attacks is an ongoing process. You need to consider people, process and technology, and the 5 no's of cybersecurity. Know what of your data is valuable, who can access it, where it's located, who is protecting it, and how well it's protected. Taking the first step to protecting your business from cyber attacks and preventing its impact is acknowledging that the risk actually is there. It's not about if an attack, but when the attack will happen. Will you be prepared? Have a plan prepared for when something does actually go wrong. And make sure your teams are across it. Cyber attacks are largely successful because of basic hygiene issues. You need to ask yourself, have I changed all my default passwords, like admin accounts or devices on your router, for example? Do I have adequate backups in place should one of my systems be compromised? Am I applying software updates as soon as they become available? To close any vulnerabilities that could be easily exploited by attackers, do I know who can access my data and systems? Am I exposing anything unnecessarily to the internet? Do my people know how to spot a phishing email or social engineering attempt? Am I giving them the tools and training to help make them my frontline fighters against an attacker? You need to understand this is usually done through the means of an audit by an unbiased third party, much the way you'd audit your finances at least once a year. Having identified the issues or shortcomings within the business, the next step then is to understand what is required to fix the problem. Understand what needs to be implemented and plan it out as a roadmap. It's important to understand what services are currently out there and would, I guess, best suit your needs and size. This is where an experienced and trusted advisor comes along. There are many types of attacks, and the list keeps growing as attackers and hackers adapt to changing conditions that become more skilled and enterprising. Whether the attack is intended to destroy a system or steal your money or data, the result for the victim and business is often devastating and very hard to recover from. Now, I'll go through a number of attacks. What is a zero-day exploit? A zero-day exploit is what attackers take advantage of vulnerability that has recently been discovered, but does not yet have a patch to fix the flaw. This is a growing area of attack, making a defense in-depth approach to security, where you don't just rely on one layer of defense, increasingly more important. What is a brute force attack? Brute force is a trial and error method used to guess login credentials by trying lots of different combinations until one works. The attacker will use a list of passwords that have been leaked in previous breaches because the majority of people reuse passwords across different services. What is a DDoS attack? A DOS attack is an attempt on a system or server to make it unavailable by overloading it with traffic that's coming in and out. We'll move on to what is an SQL injection. SQL injection is a type of security exploit in which the attacker adds structured query language, SQL, code into a web form input box to manipulate your database into revealing information that could give them access to your data or even system. What is phishing or social engineering? Phishing and social engineering is when an attacker pretends to be a legitimate entity, like a representative of a particular company, in an effort to obtain sensitive information, such as usernames, passwords, credit card details, and more indirectly, money. What is malware? Malware is software that is specifically designed to disrupt, damage, or gain unauthorized access to a computer system. Ransomware is a form of malware that encrypts a victim's files, making them inaccessible. Ransomware attackers often then request a ransom to be paid to restore access. Lately, ransomware attackers have also been stealing the data, not just encrypting it, and threatening to make it public should the victim refuse to pay up. The skyrocketing number of ransomware attacks means it is crucial to have an effective backup plan in place. Just quickly stop again. Have there been any further questions? No questions at all? Okay. Please don't hesitate to send any through. Ransomware. The key here is never to pay. Ransomware is a type of malware that locks down your computer, server, or files for ransom. These attacks are typically carried out by using phishing email that has a malicious attachment, or that asks you to enter your credentials into a malicious website through vulnerability within the system or device. The malware will then encrypt the files on the target system, and the attackers will refuse to provide a decryption key until the ransom is paid within a certain time frame. As I said before, you should never, ever pay a ransom, as there's no guarantees that you'll get your information back. In fact, we've seen a number of customers, even locally, that have been hit by this. They've paid the first attempt. They've then paid again because they've requested before the attacker will request before unlocking it. There's even been one instance where it's got to 3 times. They're not only at the end of it left without their information. Oh, sorry, Loretta.
I'll put my hand up, sorry you didn't see, but I was just going to make a point also. Just another example, it was on Insight recently. ABC covered a story around a number of key attacks that have occurred, and they actually did have some cyber criminals on there talking that have turned good. They were cyber criminals, but they're now supporting businesses to help them defend cyber attacks. But there's a really good, if anyone wants to look at another case study around a business that was attacked, the Heat Group, and they had a $2 million ransom, which they at the time were told to pay to try and get all their data back. But it just completely wiped out their business, which turns over, around 80 million a year. So a substantial size organisation that were completely shut down. So I just wanted to add that into the mix. But the Heat Group, if anyone's interested in Googling that one and doing a bit of research on what happened to them.
Really good point. What I also see is we have instances, and when I'm in front of businesses within La Trobe, you get the feeling that a lot of small businesses, we're small, our data is not really that valuable. In actual fact, you don't know the value of your own data. The attackers really will work that out for you. And there's been instances even recently, now I'm talking the last number of weeks, where businesses have been hacked. And at this point, I know of at least 2 that have been unable to be able to get their data back. And that's after paying ransoms. So, it's out there, it's real. And paying the ransom obviously also encourages attackers to try the same tactic on other victims as well. Thanks, Loretta. Moving on to phishing. Phishing is one of the most prevalent forms of cyber attack. It is so common because it's so simple and really effective. Phishing, or social engineering more broadly, is when an attacker pretends to be someone else that you trust in order to trick you or getting you to give up sensitive information. It could be money, access, whether it's both digital or physical. Phishing is often delivered in the form of email, which may contain an attachment loaded with malware or a link to a malicious website designed to steal your username and password. But it also can come over the phone, where someone calls pretending to be from your local telco, bank, or another trusted entity. This can be done via SMS and many other forms of communication as well. It could also be someone turning up at your office with a clipboard, saying they are from an electrical company and need to check your connections. Could be someone pretending to be from your supplier or other business partner, asking you to change the bank account details you'd normally use, and then put their bank account details to pay. The best way to protect yourself from phishing and social engineering is to be alert. Ask yourself 3 questions. Is this a call or email I was expecting? Is what they are asking reasonable? And thirdly, how can I verify this person is who they say they are? Be wary of anyone asking you for personal information, for access or money. If you're not sure, talk it through with someone you do trust. If you think you've actually fallen victim to a scammer, contact Australian Cyber Security Centre for help and your financial institution, obviously, as soon as possible as well. The 5 things we must know to effectively manage this risk. We've spoken about it and what the risks are. Now we'll talk about what we do. While the cyber threat isn't new, cyberspace allows crime, espionage and protest to happen at pace, scale, and reach that is unprecedented. Earlier, we shared some stats that show that it is on the increase. It is easy to place a focus on technical solution. However, people are both your strongest and weakest link. The 5 no's of cybersecurity shifts it away from a technology conversation and allows to assess your business to help you understand what you can do to be cyber secure. Know the value of your data. You need to know what the value it has. As I mentioned before, not just your own organisation and customers, but also the value to those who may wish to steal your data. All data has value to someone. Know who has access also to your data. You need to know who has access both within your organisation and externally. Like who is a super user, admin rights in your organisation with all your trusted partners and vendors as well. Know where your data is. You need to know where your data is stored. Is it with a service provider? Have they provided your data to another third party? Is it onshore or offshore? Is it also in the cloud? Know who is protecting your data. Sorry, Loretta, do you have your hand up again? No, all good. Just thought I'll check.
Sorry, I should have put that down.
No, it's all right. I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. Know is protecting your data. You need to know who is protecting your valuable data. What operational security processes are in place? Where are they? Can you contact them also if need be? Know how well your data is protected. You need to know what your security professionals are doing to protect your data 24/7. Is your data being adequately protected by also your employees, business partners, and third-party vendors who have access to it? In knowing the answers to these questions, you're on your way to being cyber secure. You need to consider the following when looking at your cyber security plan. Your network. The devices to connect to the network, i.e. things like laptops, smartphones and tablets, and cloud and applications. You need to have a perimeter security strategy. Perimeter defense has traditionally been about controlling traffic flow into your organization. Having a strong next generation endpoint security solution helps fortify an increasingly porous perimeter. You can take a number of proactive steps as part of this also. Mandate any device wishing to connect to the network. Has all of its updates and patches been installed? Second, work to improve your network visibility to ensure devices that do connect without your knowledge, you're made aware of. Things like, I guess, Internet of Things or bring your own devices. And thirdly, fortify cloud database and assets through strong identity and access management. Just stop quickly, no further questions at all? No. All right, we'll keep moving in that case. The Australian Government and IT Expert promotes the Essential 8 is a go-to guide for best practice for small business. This talks to 8 activities that every business should do to secure their IT environment. It is practical, high-level guide that can be categorised into 3 main things. Preventing threats coming in, stopping the spread if a threat has come in, and how to resort your business back to a normal operating model or mode. You cannot protect what you don't see. On the flip side of that, you cannot protect also what you don't know. Planning is crucial, and data recovery is obviously vital as well. You need that data back. There are some simple must-dos. Make sure you're backing up your environment and test that these backups work. Try to do a restore. Is your software up to date? Has your IT provider provided you with a report lately to verify your patching is up to date? Do you have 2-factor authentication in place that also supplements your passwords for your online accounts. This is, I know it sounds simple, but it will block a hacker out if they manage to guess your password. Have you assessed the risk within your business and prioritized recommendations to address any known vulnerabilities as well? Sometimes it's down to the simplest things. Are you reusing passwords? This is one of the easiest and most common ways of hackers to break in. Using unique and strong passwords makes it a lot harder for you to get breached. Sometimes it's down, consider signing up to Stay Smart Online's alert service, which provides simple safety and security information. The service suggests how to address these risks and offers solutions to ensure users can remain protected, especially when working from home. Questions come through just on Internet of Things. Internet of Things essentially is every connected device. In today's world, we've got devices that can be simple from robotic vacuum cleaners through to, in the agriculture space, I know in Latrobe, there's I've been speaking to customers that have farm machinery that then report back live data to the farmers. These are all connected devices and they're all Internet of Things. And that's what IoT or Internet of Things stands for. Thanks for the question. And while we're on it, any other questions? No? Okay. Getting snagged by a phishing scam, getting hit by ransomware, or for that matter, any sort of cyber attack is never pleasant. And as we become more and more dependent on technology and digital alerts, these scammers build up their confidence. We've seen that in the COVID-19 numbers that we spoke of earlier, if you're hit by an attack, you need to contain the breach, assess the breach, manage the fallout, and then report the cyber attack. We'll just go through if there's any other questions or anything else anybody would like to raise. No? Pretty straightforward today. Loretta?
Hey Ryan, just a quick one, just out of curiosity. So when you say contain the attack,
yes.
Do you just mean pull your laptop or computer or whatever, disconnect it from the network instantly, or what really should be done when you need to contain it?
Well, obviously we can come to if customers need advice around that, but normally with a decent security appliance, what we're talking about is firewalls. Normally those attacks in most cases wouldn't get in. If it does get in, you'd obviously have your trusted advisor or go-to person, whether that be your IT provider, that would then be able to assist. In a lot of cases though, and in a lot of hardware that Telstra provides, we're even remotely notified if our customers are attacked or something has got in. So, we've got a team of engineers that are proactively sitting in the background that can see these attacks occurring. We've had a number of incidents that have occurred recently, and once again, we're talking about Latrobe customers, where we've had our appliances in place or firewalls in place, and we've proactively notified the customer before the customer's even been made aware. Hopefully that answers your question, Loretta.
Yep, no, that's good. Thanks.
Look, if there's no other questions, I guess today we shared that with you statistics and giving you an update of cybersecurity shifting landscape during COVID-19. We've talked about the types of attacks, and we know that new attacks are being invented by gangs of cyber criminals every day. There is no perfect security in the network world. Having robust risk assessment and management process should be part of any business. As a pandemic has taught us, our business continuity plans may suddenly be more than a thought experiment. Our ability to respond quickly to a security crisis and continue to operate may be tested with little warning. So it's essential to carefully plan for the worst and remain vigilant to prevent it from occurring. Telstra continues to play an important role in the shaping of cyber security landscape within Australia. With our CEO, Andy Penn, chairing the cybersecurity strategy industry advisory panel, who recently shared the 2020 cybersecurity strategy. Telstra is now working hard with customers to enhance the network layer of security in many new ways. From the Cleaner Pipes initiative that Loretta spoke about earlier, which works to protect activity at the network distribution level, to services like Telstra Internet Protection and our managed security devices and services that I spoke of as well. These provide security monitoring and incident response to clients when they need it most. Our Telstra Business Technology Centres are available post your session and can help you formulate your cybersecurity plan and provide practical advice of what you can do right now to start the process of safeguarding your business. Thank you for joining today, and we hope that you found this useful. I've just had another question come through as well. How can TBTC Vickies help us assess how good our systems are, and whether we have any holes within our IT defences? That's a really good question. Our team at TB, or Telstra Business Technology Centre Vickies, we have our local staff on the road, where most of my day and my staff's day is spent visiting businesses within the Latrobe region, just going through any questions, going through, I guess a lot of it is the unknown, and I'm not really knowing, are they protected? And by sitting down with us, we're able to have those conversations. And, you know, some of these conversations, they are just, yep, we are protected, and have you gone through this? Have we looked at that? But what we do find is at the end of these conversations, customers are then either comfortable with where they sit, or in some instances, even less comfortable. We can then take steps by doing audits to assist these customers in making sure they are prepared. Hopefully that answers that. From me, that's just about it. If there's any other questions. No? Otherwise, I guess I'll be handing over to you, Alison.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. That was awesome. That was really informative, and I found that really interesting. So I hope everyone else did too. For those of you who are interested, we are running our next webinar on the 20th of October. And the topic of that one is when things don't go as planned, and is supporting businesses who are making redundancies. So if anyone is interested in watching that webinar, please go to our Eventbrite page to register. So thanks everyone for joining us. We'll sign off now. So thank you and enjoy your afternoon.
Thanks Alison. Thanks Ron. Bye.
Thanks, Loretta. Bye.